America's first billionaire did not build his fortune with loud speeches or public glory. He avoided attention. He spoke softly. He lived carefully. Yet his decisions reshaped the modern world. This is the story of the Rockefeller family. Not just their wealth, but how it was built, defended, and transformed into lasting power. To understand the Rockefellers, we must begin not with oil, but with childhood. Chapter 1. Before the Billions. John Davison Rockefeller was born in 1839 in a modest home in Richford, New York. America was young, industry was primitive, oil had no value. His family was unstable. His father, William Rockefeller, was charming, unreliable, and often absent, a traveling salesman who lived a double life. His mother, Eliza Rockefeller, was the opposite, deeply religious, extremely disciplined, obsessed with thrift and moral order. From her, John learned two things that would define him forever. Money must be respected. Waste is a sin. Chapter 2. The First Ledger. At the age of 16, John Rockefeller began keeping a personal ledger. Every cent earned, every cent spent. This habit never stopped. He believed money was not emotional, it was mathematical. This mindset separated him from others. While boys dreamed of adventure, John calculated margins. Chapter 3. America on the edge of transformation. Mid-19th century America was changing rapidly. Railroads expanded, factories grew, cities exploded, but energy was still limited. Lighting came from candles and whale oil, expensive and inefficient. Then came oil.
Chapter 4. The Discovery That Changed Everything. In 1859, oil was discovered in Titusville, Pennsylvania. At first, it was treated as a novelty. Many believed oil would be a short-lived fad. John Rockefeller disagreed. He didn't rush to drill oil. He focused on something far more important: refining. Chapter 5. Why refining mattered. Oil in the ground was worthless without refinement. Refining turned crude oil into kerosene, lighting, lubricants, industrial products. Rockefeller understood a critical truth: the person who controls processing controls the industry. This insight would make him unstoppable. Chapter 6. The First Business Partnership. In Cleveland, Rockefeller partnered with Maurice Clark. Together, they built a refining business. John brought discipline, accounting precision, and cost control. While others chased growth, he chased efficiency. Chapter 7. Cost is power. Rockefeller cut costs relentlessly, negotiated cheaper transportation, reduced waste, improved refining yields. He reinvested profits instead of spending them. Competitors lived richly. Rockefeller lived modestly. The difference compounded. Chapter 8. The Philosophy of Control. Rockefeller believed competition was chaos. He preferred order. Instead of fighting rivals endlessly, he bought them. If they refused, he undercut them. Not emotionally, not publicly, quietly. Chapter 9. Standard Oil was born. In 1870, Standard Oil was founded. It was not flashy, but it was systematic. Rockefeller built something new, a vertically integrated corporation. Drilling, refining, transportation, distribution, every step controlled. This was revolutionary. Chapter 10. The Railroad Strategy. Railroads were the arteries of industry. Rockefeller negotiated secret rebates, lower shipping costs than competitors. This gave him a massive advantage. Smaller refiners could not compete. One by one, they sold. Chapter 11. The Cleveland Massacre. In 1872, Rockefeller executed what later became known as the Cleveland Massacre. He absorbed dozens of refineries in months, not through violence, through math. Competitors faced a choice: sell to Standard Oil or go bankrupt. Most sold. Chapter 12. Monopoly without noise. By the late 1870s, Standard Oil controlled nearly 90% of America's oil refining. Rockefeller became incredibly wealthy, yet remained almost invisible. He avoided press, he avoided politics, he avoided extravagance. Power works best in silence. Chapter 13. The First Billionaire. By the early 20th century, Rockefeller's wealth crossed a line never seen before. Adjusted for inflation, he was the richest man in history, more powerful than nations, yet his personal life remained rigid, controlled, and private. Money was not pleasure, it was responsibility. Chapter 14. Public backlash begins. As Standard Oil grew, public opinion turned. Journalists called him ruthless, politicians called him dangerous. The word monopoly became toxic. Rockefeller said little, but pressure mounted. Chapter 15. Setting the stage for conflict. America faced a question: should one man control an entire industry? The answer would shape capitalism forever. Chapter 16. The trust strategy. By the 1880s, Standard Oil faced increasing pressure from smaller competitors, regulators, and the public. Rockefeller's solution was quiet, elegant, and legally sophisticated: the trust. The Standard Oil Trust centralized control over multiple companies, allowed independent firms to operate under one management, created an illusion of competition while consolidating power. This was not just a business model, it was a shield against chaos. Chapter 17. How trusts worked. A trust worked like a pyramid. Stockholders in multiple companies transferred shares to a central board. The board controlled all operations and profits. Companies remained nominally independent but lost autonomy. Genius, he combined efficiency with legal protection. It was the first time a single man could control an entire industry without owning every refinery outright. Chapter 18. Standard Oil's expansion. By the 1990s, Standard Oil was omnipresent: Ohio to New York, Pennsylvania to California. Oil fields, pipelines, rail transport. The company controlled 90 to 95% of refining capacity in the U.S., yet it did so quietly. No grandiose announcements, no political self-promotion. Chapter 19. Public opinion turned. Americans loved oil but hated monopolies. Journalists, including Ida Tarbell, began investigating Standard Oil's practices. Her exposé detailed secret rebates, predatory pricing, suppression of competition. It captured the public imagination. Rockefeller was depicted as cold, calculating, almost inhuman.
Chapter 20. The Sherman Antitrust Act. In 1890, the U.S. government passed the Sherman Antitrust Act. Its goal? Prevent anti-competitive business practices, protect consumers and smaller companies. Standard Oil became the first major target. Chapter 21. The legal battle begins. Rockefeller did not panic. He believed the law was imperfect, slow, and negotiable. Standard Oil's lawyers filed injunctions, argued technicalities, delayed proceedings. This bought time. Money could slow the wheels of justice. Chapter 22. Public Relations. Rockefeller understood the importance of perception. He donated to charities quietly, supported universities, built hospitals. He countered the image of the greedy monopolist with philanthropy, but without fanfare. Chapter 23. The Split of Standard Oil. In 1911, after years of litigation, the Supreme Court ruled Standard Oil violated the Sherman Antitrust Act. The company had to break into 34 independent companies. Rockefeller was 72. By now, he had anticipated the outcome. Many spin-offs increased shareholder value. Rockefeller retained significant stakes in each new company.
His wealth grew even larger. The breakup cemented his status as the world's first billionaire. Chapter 24: Strategic Diversification. Rockefeller did not stop at oil. He diversified into banking, railroads, shipping, real estate. His family wealth became a network of investments, insulated from any single market failure. Chapter 25: The Rockefeller Philosophy. John Rockefeller's guiding principles: live modestly, invest systematically, avoid debt, plan for generations. He treated money as an instrument, not a reward. Chapter 26: The Quiet Family Empire. The Rockefellers were intensely private. Unlike Carnegie or Vanderbilt, they avoided ostentation. No excessive mansions, early years. No public ego battles. Family education emphasized stewardship. This created a culture of control and longevity. Chapter 27: Building the Rockefeller Legacy. Rockefeller invested in institutions that extended influence beyond business. University of Chicago, 1890s. Rockefeller Institute for Medical Research, 1901. Rockefeller Foundation, 1913. He applied business principles to philanthropy, strategy, efficiency, and scale. Chapter 28: The Family Governance Model. Rockefeller's wealth became a multi-generational machine. Rules included transparent accounting, ethical oversight, education for heirs, family councils. Wealth without governance is fragile. Rockefeller knew this. Chapter 29: The Global Impact. By controlling oil, Rockefeller influenced international trade, industrial growth, energy pricing worldwide. Even governments adjusted policies to accommodate Standard Oil's dominance.
Chapter 30: Critics and Supporters. Critics argued Rockefeller monopolized essential resources, used ruthless tactics, reduced competition. Supporters countered, created stability in volatile markets, lowered oil prices over time, built institutions for public good. The debate over Rockefeller's ethics continues today. Chapter 31: The Personal Life of John D. Rockefeller. Despite enormous wealth, he remained devoutly religious, practiced strict daily routines, slept early, woke early, read extensively. He believed discipline was as important as capital. Chapter 32: Lessons in Wealth Preservation. Rockefeller's strategies created lessons. Diversification protects empires. Control of supply chains creates stability. Legal and financial sophistication extends influence. Philanthropy can safeguard legacy. He was not just a businessman. He was a strategist, economist, and historian in his own right. Chapter 33: Setting the Stage for the Next Generation. By 1910, Rockefeller's children were poised to expand wealth. John D. Rockefeller Jr. managed family assets. Nelson, Lawrence, and John III invested in politics, real estate, and philanthropy. The foundation of the American dynastic billionaire was complete. Chapter 34: Summary of Part 2. Rockefeller mastered monopoly, anticipated legal challenges, survived public scrutiny, expanded wealth strategically, created systems for multi-generational stewardship. Part 3 will explore the next generation's influence, political and social power, creation of the modern Rockefeller empire, global impact through philanthropy and finance. Chapter 35: Enter John D. Rockefeller Jr. John D. Rockefeller Jr., the only son of the original John D. Rockefeller, was born in 1874. He inherited not only immense wealth, but also the responsibility to preserve it. From an early age, he was groomed in financial stewardship, ethical management, and philanthropy as duty. Unlike his father, Jr. embraced public service in social improvement, seeing wealth as a tool for societal good. Chapter 36: Early Life and Education. Jr. attended Brown University, liberal arts foundation, extensive mentorship from his father. He quickly learned that money alone is insufficient without discipline, strategy, and moral purpose.
The Rockefeller family motto became central: think long-term, act ethically, preserve wealth. Chapter 37. Managing the family fortune. By the early 1900s, the elder Rockefeller had transferred substantial holdings to Jr. Jr.'s approach: systematic investment in diversified assets, professional management of family trusts, structured family governance. He transformed Rockefeller wealth from a single industry empire into a multi-industry, multi-generational dynasty. Chapter 38. Real estate and urban influence. The family invested heavily in real estate, particularly in Manhattan. Rockefeller Center became a symbol of family vision. Investments spanned commercial, residential, and public spaces. These investments were not merely financial, they shaped urban culture and architecture, influencing generations. Chapter 39. Philanthropy as power. Jr. redefined the Rockefeller approach to philanthropy: systematic giving, strategic, targeted, and accountable. Institutions instead of handouts, universities, hospitals, and foundations. International scope, education and health programs globally. Major projects included the Rockefeller Foundation, 1913, addressing public health, medical research, and global development. University of Chicago support, turning it into a premier institution. Rural development programs, improving living conditions in the U.S. South. Philanthropy became a method of influence without political office.
Chapter 40. Family governance and trusts. Jr. introduced formalized governance. Family councils met regularly. Investments were documented and analyzed. Roles were clearly assigned among heirs. This created longevity. Wealth preserved across generations. Family conflicts minimized. Strategic vision maintained. No other American family at the time managed dynastic wealth so systematically. Chapter 41. Political influence. While Rockefeller Sr. avoided politics, Jr. recognized its value. The family began shaping policy through political donations, advisory roles, and indirect influence via media and philanthropy. The Rockefeller model was subtle: power without exposure, influence without direct control. Chapter 42. Global vision. Jr. saw wealth as a global tool. The Rockefeller Foundation funded international initiatives, eradication of diseases like hookworm and yellow fever, agricultural research to boost food production, educational scholarships for international students. This extended the family's influence beyond the United States, embedding the Rockefeller name in global development. Chapter 43. The modern family dynasty takes shape. Jr. prepared his children to carry on the legacy: John D. III, Jack, banking and international affairs; Nelson Rockefeller, politics and governance; Lawrence Rockefeller, conservation and philanthropy; David Rockefeller, banking, diplomacy, and global finance. Each heir was given education, mentorship, and exposure to financial and social networks, ensuring the family's ongoing prominence. Chapter 44. Consolidation of wealth. Jr. used trusts, foundations, and corporate boards to consolidate wealth while reducing tax liabilities legally. Investments spanned oil, finance, real estate, and international markets. Risk diversification became central. Philanthropic contributions also functioned as a strategic tool. This created a financial machine almost immune to market volatility. Chapter 45. The power of silence. The Rockefellers became masters of discretion, avoided ostentatious displays, managed conflicts quietly, negotiated business and political relationships privately. This silence amplified their influence. People underestimated their reach until decisions were already made. Chapter 46. The family and the public image. While wealth often breeds public resentment, Jr. crafted a reputation of moral responsibility: religious devotion, support for education and health, thoughtful philanthropy. This tempered criticism and secured the family's social legitimacy. Chapter 47. The oil legacy. Though diversified, the Rockefeller family maintained control of oil wealth.
retained stakes in major post-breakup companies, Exxon, Mobil, Chevron, strategically reinvested dividends, maintained industry insight. Oil remained the backbone of financial security while enabling other investments. Chapter 48. The Rockefellers and Modern Capitalism. The family pioneered principles that define modern dynastic capitalism: vertical integration, diversification, professional management, strategic philanthropy, multi-generational planning. Their approach became a blueprint for billionaires worldwide. Chapter 49. The International Influence. Rockefeller influence reached globally through banking relationships, educational initiatives, international development programs, soft power and policy and diplomacy. This made the Rockefellers not just American magnates, but architects of 20th century global capitalism.
Chapter 50. Lessons in Family Wealth. The Rockefeller story illustrates timeless lessons. Discipline compounds over generations. Wealth without governance is fragile. Strategic philanthropy extends influence. Vision must anticipate legal, political, and social changes. By mastering these principles, the family turned fortune into lasting empire. Chapter 51. Public Criticism and Privacy. Critics accuse the family of excessive influence, market manipulation, political control. The Rockefellers responded not with denial, but with continued discretion, letting actions speak louder than words. Chapter 52. The Cultural Impact. Beyond money, the Rockefellers shaped culture. Modern urban landscapes, like Rockefeller Center, medical research breakthroughs, educational institutions and think tanks, conservation and environmental initiatives. The family's fingerprints are visible across multiple sectors of society. Chapter 53. The Family as an Institution. By mid-20th century, the Rockefellers were more than just industrialists. They were a political force. Nelson Rockefeller, governor of New York, vice president under Gerald Ford. Winthrop Rockefeller, governor of Arkansas. Family members advised presidents, shaped policy, and influenced diplomacy. The family had transitioned from wealth accumulation to policy shaping. Chapter 56. David Rockefeller in International Finance. David Rockefeller, grandson of John D. Sr., expanded the family's global reach. Chase Manhattan Bank chairman, architect of international banking networks, advisor to presidents, foreign leaders in international institutions. Through finance, the Rockefellers could influence global trade, diplomacy, and development. Chapter 57. Philanthropy as Power. The Rockefeller Foundation and related institutions became instruments of soft power, funding education and research worldwide, supporting public health campaigns, investing in policy think tanks. Philanthropy was no longer charity, it was strategic influence. Chapter 58. Energy and the Modern Oil Empire. Despite diversification, oil remained central. Investments in Exxon, Mobil, Chevron, and other major corporations, strategic partnerships with global governments, influence over energy policy and pricing. The Rockefeller family leveraged their historical oil dominance into modern geopolitical influence. Chapter 59. Media in Information. The Rockefellers understood the power of information. Investments in newspapers, journals, and educational platforms, support for research and think tanks that influenced policy debates, shaping public opinion quietly through grants and initiatives. Control of narratives became another form of power.
Chapter 60. Environmental and Conservation Initiatives. Lawrence Rockefeller pioneered conservation efforts, funding national parks, environmental activism, sustainable development programs. This strategy combined legacy, philanthropy, and influence, aligning family wealth with long-term social impact. Chapter 61. Education and Universities. The Rockefellers transformed higher education. University of Chicago, Rockefeller University, support for global scholarships.
Education served dual purposes: social good, influence creation, trained leaders aligned with Rockefeller philosophy. Chapter 62: The Family as Global Advisors. Rockefeller family members served as advisors to U.S. presidents, foreign governments, international organizations, e.g. UN, World Bank. They used influence quietly, often behind the scenes, shaping global policy without seeking public credit. Chapter 63: Strategic Networks. David Rockefeller built international networks: Council on Foreign Relations, Trilateral Commission, Bilderberg Group. These platforms extended influence across finance, politics, and global governance. Chapter 64: The Role of Privacy. Despite immense public impact, the Rockefellers valued privacy, limited media exposure, controlled family narrative, quiet negotiation rather than public confrontation. This discretion allowed their influence to persist without backlash. Chapter 65: The Next Generation. The family prepared heirs for modern challenges: global finance and banking, energy policy and resource management, philanthropy with strategic impact. Training included internships, mentorship, and exposure to elite global networks. Chapter 66: The Culture of Discipline. Family culture emphasized early mornings, rigorous schedules, education in finance, law, and governance, philanthropy as duty, avoidance of frivolous expenditure. Discipline ensured wealth longevity. Chapter 67: Legacy in Architecture and Urban Development. Rockefeller Center, a symbol of modern urban planning. Museums and cultural institutions funded. Civic projects reinforced family prestige. Physical presence became a statement of influence. Chapter 68: Public Criticism. Despite their impact, the family faced scrutiny. Accusations of overreach in banking, alleged influence over politics, criticism for market control. Yet their strategic philanthropy and discretion mitigated much of the backlash. Chapter 69: The Family and the Global Economy. The Rockefellers leveraged banking systems, energy markets, and international trade networks. They became global stabilizers, often shaping outcomes in ways invisible to the public.
Chapter 70: The Quiet Power Strategy. Key to the Rockefeller model: avoid direct confrontation, influence through institutions, build long-term networks, leverage philanthropy as influence. They demonstrated that true power is often silent, patient, and systemic. Chapter 71: The Modern Billionaire Dynasty. By the late 20th century, Rockefeller wealth remained among the largest in America. Family influence spanned energy, finance, policy, and philanthropy. The Rockefeller model became the template for modern billionaire dynasties. The combination of capital, discretion, and strategy created enduring power. Chapter 72: Lessons from the 20th Century. The Rockefeller story demonstrates wealth as a tool, not a goal. Influence requires structure. Philanthropy extends legacy. Global networks amplify domestic power. Multi-generational planning secures long-term impact. It is a blueprint for sustaining influence across generations. Chapter 73: Summary of Part 4. Political influence expanded the family's reach. Global finance became a tool for strategic control. Philanthropy served as soft power. The family became an institution, shaping society quietly. Discipline, education, and governance preserved wealth and legacy. Part 5 will cover the family in the modern era, influence on banking, politics, and philanthropy today, controversies, challenges, and public perception, final reflections on their legacy and lessons for wealth preservation.
Chapter 74. The family enters the modern era. By the late 20th century, the Rockefeller family had transitioned fully from industrialists to global influencers. Oil remained foundational, but was no longer their sole focus. Banking, real estate, philanthropy, politics, and conservation became pillars of power. Family influence extended across continents. They had become an institution rather than a single family. Chapter 75. David Rockefeller, the global architect. David Rockefeller, the last surviving grandson of John D. Sr., became the symbol of modern Rockefeller influence. Chairman of Chase Manhattan Bank, expanded international finance networks, connected governments, corporations, and global institutions. His philosophy: wealth is responsibility, influence is stewardship, and power is subtle. Chapter 76. Banking and International Finance. David Rockefeller used his banking position to build relationships with foreign leaders, facilitate international investment, influence economic policy through private channels. Through these networks, he maintained influence over the global economy without holding political office. Chapter 77. The Philanthropic Machine. The Rockefeller Foundation and related institutions continued to shape society globally, funding medical research and public health initiatives, supporting education in international scholarship programs, advocating for agricultural innovation. Philanthropy became a strategic tool for soft power, guiding global development quietly. Chapter 78. Political Influence Without Office. The Rockefellers mastered the art of power behind the scenes, serving as advisors to presidents and foreign officials, influencing domestic and international policy, engaging in strategic philanthropy to shape societal outcomes. They showed that influence does not require elected office. Chapter 79. Controversies and Criticisms. Despite their accomplishments, the family faced criticism: alleged overreach in banking and politics, accusations of manipulating markets and governments, criticism for creating concentrated power. Yet their careful approach and extensive philanthropy mitigated much public backlash.
Chapter 80. Energy and Environment. The Rockefellers expanded into sustainable energy and conservation. Lawrence Rockefeller promoted environmental causes and national parks. Investments in renewable energy emerged in the late 20th and early 21st centuries. The family's energy influence transitioned from oil dominance to broader ecological strategy. They adapted their wealth to evolving global priorities. Chapter 81. Media and Culture. While the family rarely sought media attention, their influence shaped cultural institutions, supported museums, universities, and research centers, funded initiatives in science, arts, and public policy, strategically contributed to media outlets and think tanks. This ensured long-lasting societal impact. Chapter 82. The Family as Global Stabilizer. The Rockefellers became a force of stability. They mediated financial crises through banking networks, supported policy initiatives for international development, encouraged economic stability in post-war and developing nations. Their influence was subtle but profound, demonstrating the power of private wealth on public outcomes. Chapter 83. Multi-generational Strategy. The Rockefeller family developed principles that ensured longevity: diversified investments, oil, banking, real estate, philanthropy, family governance, councils, structured roles, and education for heirs, philanthropy as influence, funding research, health, and education strategically, global networks, connections across governments and institutions. These strategies preserved wealth across centuries and generations. Chapter 84. Legacy of Education and Public Health. The Rockefellers transformed public institutions. Rockefeller University, a hub for scientific research,
public health campaigns eradicated diseases and improved global health, scholarships developed leaders and academics worldwide. Through education and research, they shaped the world's intellectual and scientific landscape.
Chapter 85: The Quiet Power Model. Key elements of Rockefeller influence: avoid public spectacle, operate through institutions, leverage philanthropy for societal influence, prepare future generations for leadership. They proved that true power is patient, disciplined, and quiet. Chapter 86: Controversy and Conspiracy Theories. Because of their influence, the Rockefellers were often subjects of conspiracy theories, allegations of global control, and critiques of wealth concentration. These narratives, often exaggerated, reflect public fascination with concentrated power, but the family's careful management and transparency often countered the myths. Chapter 87: The Modern Rockefellers. Today, the Rockefeller family continues to be active in banking and finance, philanthropy and global health, environmental activism, education and research. While no longer the industrial monopolists of the 19th century, they remain one of the most influential families globally. Chapter 88: Lessons in Wealth and Power. The Rockefeller story provides lessons. Wealth requires discipline, vision, and governance. Influence grows when paired with strategic philanthropy. Multi-generational planning ensures longevity. Discretion and patience amplify power. Global engagement preserves relevance across eras. It is a blueprint for anyone seeking lasting influence. Chapter 90: The Family's Cultural Impact. The Rockefellers shaped American culture. Urban planning, Rockefeller Center and civic projects, arts and education, museums, universities and scholarships, environmental policy, national parks and conservation. They demonstrated that wealth can be cultural, social, and moral influence, not just financial. Final thoughts. In a world obsessed with immediate wealth and attention, the Rockefellers teach patience. Wealth grows when nurtured carefully. Influence grows when exercised quietly. Legacy endures when planned systematically. This is the story of America's first billionaire family and the lessons they leave for generations to come.